Hi everyone, in this video we are going to solve common LEETCODE interview question, convert string to integer. So let's look at the problem. The problem reads given a function my Atoi which takes a parameter, a string, we should convert it to an integer, and there are some constraints that we need to follow. So this problem is actually a straightforward problem, just that you just have to take very good care of the constraints and reading the constraint, which literally helps you to understand the question. We have to check and make sure if the first character is a negative or a positive, then we will print that as well, or the output is going to depend on that. And we also have to read the next characters until non-digit character or the end of the input is reached, which is the rest of the string will be ignored, right? And also we have to convert these digits into an integer. So when, like, say you have like a string of 1 2 3, it should be converted to 1 2 3. If it's preceded by 0 0, then you have to ignore the 0 0 and print like 32. If the integer is out of bounds, 32-bit, then you have to print I think int max value or int min value. We will get to that in a minute. And we have to return the integer as the final result. A clear first example was we had this input string which was 42, and we returned 42 because it reads the first letter was 4 and the second letter was 2. Then we just converted it. The second one, we had a lot of empty spaces. Then we first hit a negative sign, so we just print negative 42. The third was also straightforward. We print the character, the string 4193, and we just ignore the white spaces and the string variable. So this one too, which is the pretty like obvious one, because we hit the first word no characters read because there is no leading spaces, and we just return 0. And this is what checks for the out of bounds. So let's just start implementing. One thing that I will mention is we are just going to write the algorithm to take care of all the constraints, right? Because right now we understand the problem that is pretty easy to follow, because we are just getting that string and we just look at whether the string is empty or not, and we just print out the string, right? So the first case is we will check to see if the string is check to see if string is empty. And we are going to use C#, so this is going to be like if string is null or empty. We are making use of an inbuilt method, which is a method which checks whether a string is empty or not. And I have a video already which already goes through if you get a problem, before you come up with an algorithm, you have to understand the problem, you have to choose the language of your choice, and also you have to know the tools that comes with the particular language. So I will link that video below this, and if you want to take a look at that will really help you. So if the string is empty, then we just return 0 in this case. So we've handled the first case. So we are pretty much going to have some variables. This variable, we will have I, which is 1. That is what we are going to use to check if we have a negative or a positive. And we have J, and we have K. K is what we will be using to reiterate the string. So every character that we visit, we are going to use K. And J is pretty much what we are going to use to check do our conversion. So another thing that we are going to do is we are going to loop over the string if is white spaces, then we return pretty much like 0. So we're gonna do like while the first character is equals to empty space, then what we are going to do is we just increment it. So we would keep incrementing it because we are not reading anything. But if we also see that k is greater than or equals to s dot length, that means we've come to the end of the string, right? So then we just return pretty much 0 as well. So here what it's saying is if we see white spaces, we will keep incrementing k, but if we get to a point where k is equals to the length of the string and we still have white spaces, then we just return 0 because there was nothing to read. So then the last constraint that we are going to check here is check for negative and positive pretty much. So then we just write if the first character, which is sk, is equals to negative, then what we are going to do is we are going to decrease I, right? So I will become 0, then we just increment it so we can read the next character. Else then we just if the first character is a positive sign, then we just increment k. We are not going to do anything to I because I is already 1, right? So what we are going to do now is we have to loop over all char values of s. Then we compute our integer, right? So what we're going to do is we just check if k is greater. So we will keep looping if k is less than s dot length. So we have to do it if k is less than the length, then we keep converting to the integer. So and sk is pretty much equals to is greater than or equals to 0, and sk is less than or equals to 9, right? So here what we are doing is we are making sure that we are converting the string to integer. So the string is probably going to be either is going to probably be between 0 and 9 inclusive, right? Because if you start counting numbers, you count from 0, 1, 2, 3 up to 9. If you reach 10, it's just going to be 1 and 0. If you reach 11, it's going to be 1 and 1, and all other numbers are just repetition of this 0 and 9, right? So the first thing that we are going to do here is we are going to check out of bounds stuff, right? So we do if j, because j is what we are going to use to compute, if j is pretty much greater than or equals to int dot max value, and this is also C# inbuilt method. Max value is going to help us to get the out of bound stuff. So if it's greater than that, we are not going to continue, or we are going to return the max value, which is 3, which is technically 2 raised to the power 31, right? Here too we do j is equals to int dot max value, and s at k minus 0 is equals to it's less than 7 pretty much. Then whilst we are within this if condition, then we are pretty much going to check if I is equals to 1. Then that means we are going to return int dot max value, else we are going to return pretty much int dot main value. These are C# helping methods that will help us to return the max or the min, right? Other than that, we just convert the character to an integer. So we multiply j by 10, then afterwards we just add it to the character. We first converted the character to a number, then we just add it to the multiplication of it. So at the end of it, then we just return j times I. This is the full implementation. So we are going to run it and make sure that it's actually run successfully. Hit the run. It failed on line 45. We missed a character. Line 45, yeah, we missed this. It's likely, so we just run it again. I think we are missing something. Let's just go over and see. So our output is wrong. So let's see. We come here, we check, we fail. Okay, I think if it shouldn't be equals, it should be if it's greater than that. Let's see whether that is actually going to solve it for us. It's still out of bounds. So reading through, let's look at, I think the issue is probably within this place where we are checking for out of bounds. So if it's greater than this, then we are probably going to hit our max. So let's go and check here if it's equals to this, and if we convert it to a it should be probably greater than 7. If it's greater than 7, still. So let's go through again and try and fix the bug. There's probably a bug going on. Okay, so I think this out of bound condition actually made it. We meet our requirement. We check if it's 1, we return max. If not, then we return. So then we just compute the conversion. So this is the method that computed. So then we come back here. Oh, notice what? There, I am missing something because this loop is running and it's not literally infinite loop probably. So I have to increment k anytime I compute the number. So let's run it one more time and see whether I'm going to. So this time around, I think we are pretty close. Now I got 2, but that is not the answer. The answer is expecting like 42. Let's go over again and see what I'm missing. So I think I have to literally put that if statement after this else, because so like it will literally check if it is plus, then it increase it, because if it's not, then we don't have to. Other than that, because I think what is happening is when I had it as else, no matter if this first condition doesn't meet, then we just keep that first character, and that was why we were only printing 2. So I think if we do this is going to help us. There we go. That is what I was talking about. So now we didn't skip the first character, so we were able to print out that input. So now we can probably go ahead and submit it. and see our judgment, and there we go, accepted. So this is their solution for the problem in C#. Thank you for taking your time to watch this video. If you did enjoy the video, please click the like button. If you've not already subscribed, please subscribe. I'll be solving most of these LEETCODE interview problems, and I'll be going through and explaining it whilst I am implementing an algorithm for it. To talk about it, time complexity, it is going to be a linear because we are going to visit every character at a time. So it's going to be a linear. So till we meet again, don't stop coding.